A new name has surfaced in the offensive coordinator search. How do you feel about it?
Locked On Bama, your daily podcast on the Alabama Crimson Tide. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, everybody, and welcome back into Locked On Bama. Luke Robinson, that's me. Jimmy Stein, that's him. Jimmy, how are you today?
Good. Everything's good. 7 months, by the way, as we record this, 7 months until Alabama kicks off against Middle Tennessee State from today.
Time for you to start doing that, huh?
Yeah, it is. The countdown. Several different countdowns. I'm counting down to spring practice. I'm counting down to fall camp, and I'm counting down to the season. It's just a countdown palooza starting today.
I want to thank you for making us your first listen. You are the best, whoever you are. And also, I want to thank FanDuel for being the sponsor of this particular podcast. We'll talk about FanDuel here in a minute. You can see them down at the bottom if you're watching on YouTube. Go to FanDuel.com/lockedon. Jimmy, a new name has surfaced in the offensive coordinator search. Ryan Grubb is out, and Tommy Rees from Notre Dame, former Notre Dame quarterback, who was, I guess you'd call him gritty, gutty, heady, a coach's dream, all those cliches when he was a quarterback at Notre Dame. And his name is now surfaced in terms of, could he be Alabama's next offensive coordinator? It has been met with mixed reviews. Does Saban give a darn about those reviews? I'm sure not.
No.
I would say this: people that keep pointing to his underwhelming performance at Notre Dame, and I think that's fair to say. I would also go so far as to say he didn't have Alabama's talent. Notre Dame, they were also under a new coaching staff, under a totally new regime. So I feel like there was probably some growing pains there. I'm not against the hire. He's probably not my first on the list either. I'm falling in that gray area, and I'm in a mode of got to trust Saban here.
Yeah. Well, first of all, Saban hugely. I mean, he's won. I mean, how many championships does Nick have to win before we go, hey, you know what? Let's let him do this. He seems to be okay at this. He seems to sort of know what he's doing. Maybe we should just listen to him and not have our own uneducated opinions rule the day, but maybe Nick's. So there's that. Look, I have, of course, my own opinion on Tommy Rees. Both positive and maybe some that would be viewed as negative or question marks. But here's a few positives before anybody wants to jump off a ledge over this, which is crazy. For one thing, his age is a positive to me. I like hiring coaches that are on their way up in the profession, and that's a great description of Tommy Rees. He's on his way up. He only turns 31 years old this year, very young. So young, in fact, Tommy Rees was a backup quarterback on that 2012 Notre Dame team that Alabama beat real bad down in Miami. Rees, was a quarterback at Notre Dame that recently, starting quarterback at Notre Dame, I believe, in 2013 and 2014, I believe, or at least one of those seasons. But so very young. Here's the main reason that I'm excited, and this is something some of y'all will disagree, and that's fine. I appreciate y'all listening to the show and just understanding, or wanting to know my opinion before you disagree with it. But my opinion about this, I think quite a bit of Brian Kelly. I think Brian Kelly is not only a good football coach, he's very smart, and he's been winning a long time. Brian Kelly loved Tommy Rees as a coach. He hired him to be a very young QB coach. He hired him to do that. After he was QB coach for 3 years, he promoted him to offensive coordinator. So he was an extremely young offensive coordinator for Notre Dame. And then when Brian Kelly got the job at LSU, he wanted to bring Tommy Rees with him to LSU as his offensive coordinator. So Brian Kelly thinks the world of Tommy Rees and is ready to put his own career in Tommy Rees's hands by having him in such a huge position and wanting him at LSU. Tommy Rees, because he's full of Notre Dame, played there. I think his dad works there. He chose to stay at Notre Dame and not go to LSU, and became one of the highest paid offensive coordinators in college football this past season, working with Marcus Freeman. So those are all reasons I like this. B, as everybody that listens to the show knows, I believe in being more physical on offense and having a bigger commitment to running the ball. I believe Tommy Rees is absolutely going to do that at Alabama, should he be the hire. I'm excited about that aspect of it. So for all of those reasons, I would be like on board. And if Nick Saban makes Tommy Rees his choice, and Tommy Rees accepts and he becomes the offensive coordinator, I will be excited about it for those reasons. Now, there's also some negatives. I forgot to mention a huge positive. He won. He's a winner. You know, when you look at his time as OC at Notre Dame with Brian Kelly as the head coach, they won. They made the playoffs. They're a big winner, Brian Kelly plus Tommy Rees, and I think Nick Saban's better than Brian Kelly. So I think Nick Saban plus Tommy Rees probably a big winner too. So that's another reason to like that. But negatives, is it fair to say his personality? I mean, he's let me choose a word. Abrasive. Everybody saw the clip of him cussing out his quarterback, Drew Pine, last year on Twitter. I think that wasn't a one-off for him. I think that's sort of who Tommy is all the time. And that's fine. To me, it's fine if you're elite, if you can back it all up. To me, it's like being a mouthy player. Fine if you back it up, Secondly, if you look at the numbers at Notre Dame, considering the quality of player that Notre Dame recruits, I think it's fair to look at their offensive numbers and not be blown away by the production. I think that's fair. So anyway, that's my take on Tommy Rees.
Yeah, and in terms of being abrasive, look, first of all, I mean, Nick Saban's abrasive.
Yes.
I mean, he is the scouring pad of the college football world. I mean, he's very abrasive. And so Tommy Rees, I'm cool with, I'm like you. If you're elite and you're abrasive, so be it. But also I'd say this, that to really be abrasive and be accepted, I think you have to sort of be a bit of an underdog that came up versus a guy that just had all the talent in the world, and just is better than everybody. So he's like, why can't you be like me? And they're like, well, you have gifts from God. I think Tommy Rees is the kind of guy who did sort of work his way up a little bit. I mean, I don't remember him as a recruit, but
he was a 3-star. Huh? He wasn't a big name prospect.
Yeah, he wasn't a big name prospect. I knew that. That's what I'm saying. I don't remember him. So I'm saying I think people take abrasive communication better from those who have worked their tails off to get where they are, versus abrasive communication from people who were born on third base, think they hit a triple, or are so much better than everybody in terms of talent that like they would have to screw it up to not be better than people. You know what I mean? And so I think it's fair if you're if you want to be abrasive, if you've number one can walk the walk, and number two, if you understand what it means to work hard. So I want to tell everybody about FanDuel right now, Jimmy. We all love FanDuel around here. They're our new sports betting partner with Locked On. We're really excited about our new sports betting partner, and that is FanDuel. They're the number one sports book in America. No, not messing around there. If you're new to FanDuel, that's even better. They have so many great features that make betting on sports fun and easy. Download FanDuel now so you can bet on Super Bowl 57 with a no sweat first bet. You'll get up to $3,000 back in bonus bets if your first bet doesn't win. My gosh. FanDuel lets you bet on everything from the money line to point spreads to who will score a touchdown. You can I mean, I love the Eagles here in this game. That's who I'd bet on. The FanDuel Sportsbook app is safe, secure, and easy to use. Best of all, you can get paid instantly. That is huge. So join FanDuel today at FanDuel.com/lockedon to claim your no-sweat first bet on Super Bowl 57. That's FanDuel.com/lockedon. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NFL. The NFL, they're pretty good. All right, Jimmy, I also want to tell everybody about the Senior Bowl. You know that's going on right now. Locked On is heading to the Senior Bowl. Get inside analysis from the hosts that covered the NFL's next generation in college and find out which NFL draft boards these players will be climbing, all in one location. Subscribe to Locked On NFL Draft. That's Locked On NFL Draft for nightly live shows from the Senior Bowl on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So tonight's your last night. Check out Locked On NFL Draft. Jimmy, High Tide Traditions, the NIL collective for Alabama, they're out.
Right.
Yea Alabama, the new NIL collective for Alabama, is in. Mm-hmm. My understanding is there is a 15-year contract between Yea Alabama, which has some kind of tie-in with Learfield. I don't know all the specifics, and Alabama, and Alabama comes out very well in this scenario. Frankly, I'm still not sure, and I don't know that anybody really knows what all of this means. I think there's still so much that is ambiguous when it comes to NIL and collectives. But it seems to me, and I had some connections to High Tide Traditions, and so I loved hearing some of the stories. I certainly can't repeat everything, but this whole thing is so bizarre. All this NIL stuff. So I think what it reminds me of, and nobody's going to get this because I'm sort of a nerd and I watch it every time it comes on. Avengers Age of Ultron is probably the worst Avengers movie, but I enjoy watching it because it's still a Marvel movie, and I usually like Marvel movies. There's one scene in there where Ultron is talking to Scarlett Johansson, the Black Widow, and like in the middle of it, he said, "Whatever kills you doesn't make you stronger." And in that moment, another Ultron comes behind him and destroys that robot, and it's a bigger robot, and this is showing like, okay, I've gone from this guy to this even better guy, but I have the same collective mind. And I feel like this is what this is. Yea Alabama has come in and taken over for High Tide Traditions, which set the foundation and did a marvelous job. Let's point this out. Under High Tide Traditions watch, Alabama signed its best football class in history and its best basketball class in history.
Yep.
That's indisputable. So High Tide Traditions did their job. No doubt about it. I mean, kudos. But I think that now that this thing is maybe beginning to morph into having some at least guardrails from somewhere, I think that it is better that you get something that has a longer contract, that has maybe the backing of something like a Learfield.
Right.
Jimmy, help me out here because I'm trying to understand. I feel like Yea Alabama is High Tide Traditions 2.0, and I do feel like it can be better, but I don't know. I mean, High Tide Traditions gave us the best basketball and football recruiting classes in our history, so I'm there too.
Yeah. I look at it like this. I think the best way to – okay, there's a brand new industry. There's a brand new thing in town. There's a brand new thing. So a mom and pop store opens because it's a brand new thing, and we know mom and pop, and they love the town, and they're going to do all they can to serve the town and the people of the town. They work very hard because they love the town, and the mom and pop store is outstanding. It does a great job. Everybody in town is like going, and then this industry is exploding nationally and nationwide, and the industry is growing. And basically it just outgrew the mom and pop store. So what's happened is Walmart has come in, and they've basically not put mom and pop out of business. They've actually consumed mom and pop to the point where mom and pop's happy. Like, oh, thank goodness Walmart's here, because we need Walmart. This is big. We need Walmart. We need that. Y'all have a corporate office in Arkansas and 1,000 stores and this huge makeshift. We need Walmart, and mom and pop will be just fine because Walmart took over everything, and mom and pop are happy. So I think it's kind of that situation. It's just bigger, better, and more expansive. By the way, Alabama doesn't like referring to Yea Alabama as a collective. Alabama refers to Yea Alabama as Alabama's official NIL entity. I don't know if it'll have a name going forward like that, but that's how Alabama, for whatever reason, feels collective has a negative connotation to it now. I
mean, Jimmy, yeah. I want everybody to call me He-Man. Nobody's going to do it.
That's right. I think people will still call it collective because it's the name that's out there that's in the industry. But University of Alabama's preference is this is an NIL entity. It is officially associated with Alabama, unlike High Tide, which was especially at the end. But this is Alabama, and I believe they will even have a headquarters on campus in the stadium next to the Authentic, which is also going to expand beyond all this. As Alabama is now, put it this way, High Tide was Alabama walking with NIL. Yea Alabama is Alabama running with NIL.
All right, I'll say this though. I like the name High Tide better.
Yeah, I don't like Yea Alabama. I mean, I get it because I think everybody that's an Alabama fan gets it because Yea Alabama's the song, right? But I like High Tide. I agree. And I'm with you, Luca. Alabama and Alabama fans owe High Tide Traditions a big thanks. They not only they didn't just keep Alabama afloat in the new world. Alabama was doing really well. It just has blown up into we need Walmart.
We do definitely indeed. Always need Walmart. Jimmy, let's go ahead.
Funny that Arkansas literally that's their literal NIL plan, right?
It is. That just Walmart help us out, bro. Okay, let's go ahead and take another break. When we come back, just some final recruiting thoughts and a few odd and end things. So, Jimmy, signing day came and went, or the second signing day, whatever. It used to be Christmas Day. It's not anymore. It kind of sucks. But Alabama still finishes with number one class by a pretty wide margin, actually. Georgia number 2. Was it LSU 3? So who was 3? Well, regardless, maybe I can't remember. I'll look it up real quick. But regardless, the SEC, if you want to include, and I think it's fair to include Texas and Oklahoma. Now, actually, it was Texas 3 and Oklahoma 4 and LSU 6. So 5 of the 6 teams that will be in the SEC probably by 2024, because I'm thinking Texas and Oklahoma get in by then.
I agree.
Have the top recruiting classes. That's amazing. And so the beat goes on. Any surprises from yesterday? I mean, it's not really a surprise, but Nicholas Harbor, who I adore. I mean, I just thought he's so. I mean, he reminds me of like even a more athletic Kendrick Blackshire. Kendrick Blackshire, I remember you just saw him. I was like, okay, I don't know what he can play. I have no idea how his hips are, how skinny his ankles are. I don't care. I've seen the picture of him. Let's sign him and figure out who he can beat up. And Nicholas Harbor is the same way, except here's the thing with Nicholas Harbor. He can also outrun you. He is like a world-class sprinter. He's amazing. And he goes to South Carolina. And again, kudos to Shane Beamer. I mean, great job. They had a marvelous class. And so he spurned Oregon for them. And then Jaden Rashada, who had a lot of drama with his quarterback situation at Florida, he decides to go to Arizona State, where his dad played, where my son is right now. And so that's pretty cool. Those are only 2 things I can think of from National Signing Day that really caused any stir.
Yeah, those are good storylines. I love the Nicholas Harbor is one of my favorite prospects this cycle. He had no interest in Alabama. That's fine. You know, to me, he wasn't a great fit. And by that, I mean personality-wise. That doesn't mean I don't love the kid. I think he's really unique. I'm not surprised at all. He ended up at a South Carolina in the sense that Nicholas Harbor was such a unique prospect. It only makes sense he would end up at a place that one of the best 5-star prospects and an unreal athlete wouldn't end up at Alabama or Ohio State or Georgia or Clemson. he chose South Carolina. And while that makes no sense on the surface, Nicholas Harbor is one of the most unique prospects of all time, where he almost prefers track and field to football, which is why he never would have been a good fit at Alabama. Let's be honest. I mean, Alabama wants football obsessed guys or who fit in best at Alabama. Harbor loves track and field first and foremost. Second, he's so inclined academically. His dad is a literal rocket scientist. His dad literally is a scientist that works for NASA. And Nicholas has inherited his father's brains. He's a 4.0 student. He qualifies for basically any academic scholarship out there. He's an Ivy League powerhouse, everything else. What a unique, fantastic kid. And I like Shane Beamer a lot personally. So I'm happy for Shane Beamer and South Carolina, a program that seems to be really ascending. I think they have to get their NIL act together. I think that's why they had some highly significant players leave this offseason, like Jordan Birch, because I think they got to get their NIL game together. But Nicholas Harbor was never going to sign with who everyone thought he should sign with, because he's just a unique bird when it comes to high-level football prospects.
Couple other notes. Aeneas Smith from Texas A&M has decided to come back for another year. If you remember, he broke his leg last year, and he decided not to enter the draft. Speedy back, very good. So Texas A&M, who hadn't had a lot of good news lately, they get some good news there. Certainly, he will be available against Alabama next year, so that's relevant. And LeBaron Philon, I've all but gotten 100% confirmation he will not be committing to Alabama. He will be committing to Auburn. So be it. But I really think he's a good prospect, and hey, best of luck to him. I love to see in-state guys do well, but it's just one of those things where I think Auburn won this battle, and that's okay. Nate Oats is going to get his fair share, and it should be noted that it sounds like Nate Oats is about to get a significant payout, a pay bump, and going to have a significant buyout too. And I'm telling you, I do know this: there have been some. At least some whispers that some other big programs were sniffing around for interest for Nate Oats, and I feel like this is going to help quash that, and I love it.
Yeah, supposedly as along with it's a two-way. I think what Alabama wanted was a two-way promise here. We will pay you top dollar, but you've also got to agree to a significant buyout, which means that teams that want to come in and hire Nate Oats away from Alabama are going to owe Alabama a gigantic chunk of change, which would aid us in the search for the next guy if that happens. So I would look for, when that contract is announced, the buyout terms will be really interesting.
All right, buddy, that's going to do it for this episode. We'll be back maybe tomorrow. I don't know if we'll be back tomorrow or not. We'll be back probably Saturday by then. It'll be one of those days. Anyway, regardless, we'll be back again. And until then, roll tide, everybody.
Roll tide.